See this mark right here on the wall? Well, there was 3 little indentations there, there, and there. And because I'm doing some patches up on a ceiling, I thought I'm just gonna put some mud in there. I don't like usually using just regular caulking in there, because usually caulking sucks in and then leaves a little bit of mark. I'll do that in a pinch, but because I was doing some other patches, I thought I'll just hit that. But and I'm going to fill a little bit more in there, but between coats, see, this is all dried there. I don't want to just leave that. If I leave that like that, and then if I sand that just like a regular patch, now when I get all done, I'm going to have a patch this big to put paint on. I'll have to put primer over the sheetrock residue on here, and then 2 coats of paint. Then all of a sudden my patch is going to be this big for the paint, and if the paint doesn't match 100%, you might still get a sheen like this on your wall, depending which way you look at it on the light and that kind of thing. So what to do about that? You got any ideas? Well, this is what I'm going to do. I thought I'd share this with you really quick. I've just got a wet sponge here, and I'm going to sponge off the sheetrock mud. And I'm going to try to be real careful in here. I don't want to hit these areas too hard, because if I do, I'm going to take the mud off. You know, this is going to make my patch that much smaller when I get done, right? Now I've just made my patch that much smaller, and I can see it because I got the light on there. Take all the excess off. Just going to be careful. There. I can dry that off. And you could clean your sponge off depending how big your mark was. You know? Because you don't want residue on there. If you don't dry it like that, you can clean off your sponge and do it again. Now see how much smaller that's going to be? Now obviously you might see some marks over here, but I think it's because of the moisture still drying, but we'll see. You know, once this dries, you can take another look at it. Oh, I gotta clean out and rinse my sponge off and wipe it again, and all of a sudden that residue comes right off. Okay? That's how you can minimize your patch. Once that dries, we're gonna have just that. I'll probably end up going over that one more time with a little putty knife, put a little bit more sheetrock mud on there, and then I'll wipe that off again. Then I can just dab that. I can dab it. If I have a paintbrush, see, if I got a paintbrush this big, now my patch is going to be big again. If I do this, now you've got a big patch. Or if I do like that, you're going to see that. So I may not use this paintbrush. I may use a paper towel or something and just wipe it and dab it on there like that. You know? Or you can take a little artist brush and just paint where it needs to be and put a couple coats on there, and that will really minimize your paint touch-up areas, especially if that paint doesn't match 100%. And lots of times, even if you use the same paint out of the same can that you got on the wall, trust me, you make a big patch like that, you stand off to the side, and if it's on a sunny day or if you shine a light up there, you're going to see that patch. You may not see it straight on, but you know, you do it this way, you're going to minimize the aftermath. Try it. Here's my actual little patch, and I only had the sheetrock mud around there. But you see this discoloration right up there? You also see there's another discoloration over here to a certain extent. Well, that's where somebody was rubbing on the wall really super hard, and they thought, my golly, well, I'm going to clean that off. You rub too hard and you leave marks. See that down there? That's either paint or somebody cleaned the wall off too much. Another spot, you can't really see it from where you're at, but if I see it right here, and it's because somebody took a rag, or they even took a sponge with a Brillo pad type on the other side, and they thought, well, I'm going to clean that off. And they did that, and they wiped it off, and sure enough, they got it off, but they left a nice big mark on the wall. So be careful of stuff like that when you're cleaning your walls. I only bring this up for a simple fact that some walls are a smooth wall finish, and that's what this wall is. It's nice and smooth, there's no spray texture on it, there's no stipple, there's no skip trowel, there's nothing on it. So that's why you got to be more careful when you clean your walls and when you touch up your walls and patch your walls and all that. If this had spray texture on there, you wouldn't have to be as particular. It almost looks like I didn't clean enough. You see all this around here? But the only place that I patched were these three little spots, here, here, and here. I've already wiped off all of the sheetrock residue. And anything else you see there, because this is smooth wall, it sticks out like a sore thumb, doesn't it? And that's because there's a chair here, and that chair was rubbing there. And before, there used to be a small mark on the wall without any actual gouges, and it looked like somebody previously took some paint right in there and tried to touch it up and put it on there. That's what happens when you put a lot of paint on there. You just, all of a sudden, you get marks everywhere. Here, 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 up there, over here, down there. And then at some point you've got to decide, okay, when is it time to repaint? Because then if you repaint the entire wall, you'll make all that go away. A few things to think about on your next touch-up.